Right, so today's workout is going to focus completely on abs and core. I've always been a massive believer in doing a lot of heavy work for your abs, a lot of controlled negatives, a lot of squeezes, but definitely with as much resistance as you can, the same way you treat any other muscle. Generally speaking, most exercises will be around 6 to 12 repetitions, slightly more on your obliques. So today's workout's going to pretty much be straight sets, focusing on that 6 to 12 rep range with a couple of supersets here and there. Again, keeping the rest periods relatively short in between sets of approximately sort of 45 to 60 seconds max. But again, really emphasising a massive mind to muscle connection. But the first exercise that I'm going to focus on is the hanging knee raise. The reason I picked this first is, for me, the way I do it, it's probably one of the hardest ab exercises you can do with the tempo that I'm going to perform it at. You're going to perform a 4-second negative again because it places massive tension on the lower abs and core in particular, with a 1 to 2 seconds upward movement. Bring your knees in towards your chest with a 1-second isometric squeeze. Again, really emphasising the mind to muscle connection on your lower abs and your core. What you'll also notice with this ab workout is it primarily focuses on the lower abs and the core, especially for the first 50 to 70% of the work, the ab workout. Reason being, for me, the same as you should do with any sort of muscle group, is always target the weakest area within that muscle. So for me, you know, the top and the middle abs are always the easiest muscles part of the abs to develop. So I'm going to start on the lower abs. So I'm going to perform 6 to 12 reps with a little weight in between my feet just to add that extra resistance. The second exercise we're going to be doing is the Russian med ball twists. One of my favourite ab exercises for the last sort of 12, 13 years. Reason being, it really hits your lower abs, your core, your obliques, and your top and your middle abs all in one exercise. The time of detention is continuous throughout. You keep your feet approximately 6 inches off the floor, as you'll see in a second. Your feet do not move throughout the whole exercise. The amount of people I see do this exercise and their feet are swinging from side to side, drop the weight or don't use a weight if you're struggling to keep your feet rigid. Again, 6 to 12 repetitions, 3 sets, just as the previous exercise, a maximum of 45 to 60 seconds rest in between. Now we're moving on to the reverse cable crunches, another favourite of mine, purely because you can add a fair bit of resistance, obviously the stronger your abs get. Again, bring your knees towards your chest. The most important part of this movement for me is when your lower back comes slightly off the floor. That's when you drive up through your lower abs and your core really aggressively to really contract your lower abs and your core muscles. Again, a nice controlled movement down, pretty explosive on the way up, again with a good isometric squeeze at the point of contraction at the top of the movement. 6 to 12 reps, again with a rest period of around about 45 seconds to 1 minute maximum. You're going to go straight into a superset with a front plank, 60-second front plank. To make the plank harder, simply come up onto your tiptoes and just sort of extend your arms forward and your legs back, so like a Spider-Man plank. But you're going to go 6 to 12 reps on reverse cable crunches into 60-second front plank, then a rest of around about 45 seconds to 60 seconds. You repeat that 3 times. Right, now we're going to move on to purely oblique work. We're going to do a continuous minute oblique rotation from side to side with a weighted plate with a sandbag or a partner holding down your feet. So we're going to go rotate from one side to the other, keeping constant tension on the obliques, really squeezing the obliques as you're going from side to side. You're going to do that for 1 minute continuous. The key with this exercise is don't sit too upright as you do it, because that will take the load and the tension off your muscles and make it a lot easier, as you'll see when I do it. So you can do a minute continuous on the oblique rotations, straight into 30 seconds either side on a side plank to really fatigue your oblique muscles. Again, that gives you a nice tapered look, especially once you're nice and lean on a photo shoot or beach, whatever your goal may be. You're going to rest then for a maximum of 45 seconds. You repeat that 3 times. Okay, the final ab exercise we're going to do is a lying crunch, but you're going to keep your hands over your head with a weighted plate, arms fully extended to really emphasise your middle and your top abs. Again, I love to finish on my top and middle abs because my lower abs and core are already pre-fatigued. And again, it'll force them to work even harder also to keep up with the fresh muscles in your abs, which are your top and your middle at this stage of the workout. So what we're going to do is 10 to 12 repetitions with a weighted plate above my head. Again, controlling the negative, explosive on the positive with a good 1 second squeeze if I can at the top of the movement. Making sure that your shoulders pretty much touch the floor at the bottom of each movement. So 3 sets, 10 to 12 reps, approximately 45 seconds to 60 seconds rest period in between. For me, I don't think you have to do hundreds and hundreds of sit-ups. You know, it's diet that's going to make your abs more prominent, but for me, definitely lifting heavy with a lot of squeezing and good mind-to-muscle connection really brings out the abs and builds a lot of thickness, which for me is the key to a great six-pack.